What's up?
What up? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Quick anecdote. Just got the kids from school and I was like, they're almost 3 now for anyone who doesn't know that. And I was like, how was your day? And they were like, we did something silly on the playground. And I was like, what does that mean? And they were like, we went down on our butts and we fell and it was so funny. And then the teacher said no. And then we did it anyway. And I was like, okay, what are we supposed to do when the teacher says, don't do something? And they were like, listen. And I was like, and what did you do? And they were like, we didn't listen. And I was like, okay, so what are you going to do next time? Like really hoping to get like the listen. And they were like, not listen. And I was like, oh, okay. So that went well.
This tracks. I found a hack to this actually recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a Instagram reel, like parenting Instagram got me on this one. And it was like, when you try to get your kids to say something or do something or respond to something and they're not listening or they're not doing anything you want, the hack is, and this is actually like I think this just works. This is the same for everyone, adults and children. Like just talk to them about what they're doing. So like Logan's always like playing with the truck and I'm like, Logan, like let's have me dinner. And he's like, won't look at me. But I'm like, Logan, what are you doing over there? What are you doing with that truck? And he's like, oh, like I'm doing this truck. It's going down this hill and doing all this stuff. I was like, cool. Hey, it's time for dinner. And he's like, okay. Like that one moment of like aligning with them on whatever's going on. So you're like, oh, you go down on your bus. Was it fun? Did it get hurt? Like they're gonna be like, yeah. And it's like, did the teacher like when you went down on your butt? Like I don't know. I found that to be a more effective communication technique with these little tiny dictators. That
emotional terrorist has been the word I've been using recently.
There's a lot of emotion.
Anyway.
What do you want to talk about today, Erica?
I want to talk about something that's been so top of mind for me, and it sounds like for you and for our clients as well. And it's about creating from a place of inspiration versus obligation. I've been feeling a lot of the obligation lately. And I think that it creeps up in a lot of ways that we can get into, but it always feels terrible when you're creating from a place of obligation. So how do you get back to that place of inspiration? That's where I want to be today.
Let's do it. But first, we want to thank our friends over at Share Your Genius for supporting and sponsoring this show and our endless antics. If you, dear listener, are considering starting a show and you don't know who to trust to edit it, if you have a show and you edit yourself like a barbarian and you don't know who to trust to edit your show for you, get it off your plate. Go hit up our friends, Share Your Genius. Go hit up Rachel at Share Your Genius. You tell them Nick and Erica sent you. It is worth every single second. Trust us. Just trust us.
Yeah, it feels really, really good. Just trust us.
I was doing it way too long, and this is the greatest relief. All right, let's talk inspiration versus obligation. Let's define some terms. Let's get aligned here. Let's find some common ground, because I think we probably bounce back and forth between these two places a lot, and where we see the people who have like the objective type of success that we're all looking for in business. Where do they create from? How does this all work? So break it down.
All right. Inspiration for me, and obviously these are quite subjective words, but inspiration for me means I am feeling emotionally connected to what I'm creating. I am feeling like I have ideas flowing in my brain and I got to get them out. I'm inspired. The work that I'm doing is inspiring me. I want to tell people about it. I want to talk about it. Obligation, to me, again, means, oh, it's Monday, and by Friday, I better have 3 to 5 posts on LinkedIn, a newsletter sent, a podcast recorded, and if it's not done, I have failed. And I feel like I have to. It becomes a chore. Brendan Hufford describes it as checkbox marketing. Like, these are just things, right? And it's like, why are we even doing this? You're doing something purely because you feel like you have to or you should or that's the way, as opposed to I am inspired to do this and I'm going to obviously follow a strategy. I'm not just going to post when inspiration strikes, but I am excited and inspired and I am connected to what I'm doing and the results that it gets.
Yeah, the word that you said is have to, right? I think I fall into create from obligation a lot, but it's because I feel like I have to create something versus I get to create something.
100%.
I think that's the place. And I think that's inspiration, obligation, dichotomy across all work.
Yep.
Creating things seems to be a sticking point, but it's like, oh, I have to go talk to this client, or oh, I get to go talk to this client.
Yep.
That's a big mindset shift, but and like, yeah, I'm not saying you shipped yourself into inspired, but like understanding that thought pattern and what it's doing to you certainly makes a massive difference. But for you, I know this has been a sticking point on your newsletter lately.
Yeah, it's been driving me crazy. And I it's interesting because it's twofold. Number one, I feel like I'm having a bit of an identity crisis, which is normal as you're pivoting and growing.
What's the crisis?
The crisis is I used to be and wanted to be known as a content person. All things content. It started with editing, then it shifted to strategy and editing, and it was just all under the umbrella of content. The crisis is that I'm growing. And
that's not a crisis.
No, it's a crisis of creativity is what I'm trying to say. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. People grow and you're supposed to grow. And I'm so excited that my business is growing. I am learning and I am evolving and I'm getting all these new skills, and you and I teamed up and I'm still like the content half of our duo, but I'm finding that I'm much more inspired by solving the business problems as a whole, as opposed to just the content side of the business problems. And so where my crisis is I've got this newsletter that I started several years ago when I was content person, and I'm not that interested at the moment in breaking down all the content choices I'm making. It's just not that exciting to me. I'd rather talk about the exciting stuff, like all the massive insights we're getting from helping people grow as a whole. And so I'm not feeling inspired, and I am extremely stubborn, as you know.
No way.
No way. And I've never been like, I'm going to follow this cadence regardless of whether I'm inspired. That's not how I work. Like I've never scheduled a post in my life. I've never scheduled anything in my life. If I'm not in the mood, I'm not doing it. As you know, you're laughing because you've really gotten to know me quite well. And you're like, yeah, that's true.
Yes.
So I haven't sent a newsletter in a couple weeks, and I've totally just fallen off my cadence. And before that, it was like every Sunday for several years.
On Sundays. That was the
ship
whole...
on Sundays. And I haven't sent it. And I don't feel bad about it. I just feel a bit weird because it's like, what do I do with this? So I'm just ruminating on that. And I feel there's a part of me that feels obligated because it was the thing I did. And then there's the other part of me that's like, who cares? Like, obligated to what? To who? For what? To what end? So that's just what I'm going through there.
Yeah, I feel a similar tension with 1000 Routes. Like, I love that show, and I still am inspired to do it, but it definitely feels more like a chore sometimes to book the guests, like do all the prep, like among all of the other things. And so that has certainly fallen off a cliff. Like that has slowed way, way down.
How's it making you feel?
Once I just accepted the fact that it was an obligation and I shifted it, and I was like, I want to just interview people when I find people I'm inspired by. And to let go of we ship every week, I ship a new story every week. Like, I think that was helpful in the beginning because it builds the muscle and you learn a lot about yourself and creativity and creating things and being in the mess. But after, I don't know how many episodes I've done of that show, 50 or 60 something, like, it's like, it became one, it's been remarkable for business and meeting wonderful people. And for that, like, I don't want to stop doing it. But among all the other things, like this show and the mini books that we're writing and the client works that we have, it's like trying to slot it in and make time for it just felt like an obligation. And I was like trying really hard to find people to interview as opposed to meeting someone and going, wow, that's someone I think who should be on the show. Changes the nature and your relationship with the work.
Yeah. But that's the interesting thing, because we have a weekly cadence with this podcast. We've missed it a few times because we both have toddlers and that's just life.
Yeah.
But like, I am very inspired to hit record on this with you. And I'm very inspired to write those mini books. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Like, your inspiration is shifting, and that's okay. I think where people get into trouble is when they put themselves in these boxes and they're like, I must, and therefore I will burn myself out. Or it's just really interesting.
I think as you're saying this, there's the ick factor of having a dormant creative project.
Yeah.
I think that is a belief or a thing about all of us that we don't want. I do not want to have a podcast feed that is just dead.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't like the way that feels. You don't want to have a newsletter with a bunch of subscribers on it that you never send stuff to. Mm-hmm. There's something about that. And realizing that that is a made up idea, it's a made up thing, it's a thing we told ourselves, it's a lie. It doesn't matter, that we have to keep it going because it exists. That doesn't serve us.
It doesn't.
And letting go of the I ship every week on this other show has made my life a lot better.
I'm inspired by the people who I've watched go through this in the past as well. And I think that having examples of people that go through this is really helpful. Like Amanda Natividad had a newsletter that I think she sent. It was every week or every other week. And then one day she just stopped. And she started a few other things. And now she's kind of back. And she said publicly, you know what, I'm just going to send this when I have something to say. I don't think we all need to say things for the sake of saying things. I think we should say things when we have something to say. And that stuck with me.
Yeah.
But then
and she
again,
she has a different creative outlet. I think she hosts a podcast called Meme Team, which is
that's new. Yeah.
a hilarious idea. I've seen clips from it. I haven't listened to the show. Sorry, Amanda.
Yeah, same. Sorry, Amanda. I do listen to the clips.
The clips are funny.
Yeah.
But having that other creative outlet, like there's just seasons and chapters and in your life, and going through the seasons and recognizing when things don't serve you or when things do. And so letting go of a newsletter that no longer served you, letting go of a show that no longer served me. And it's, again, it's not like forever. It's just like, I think this thing just needs to slow down. I'm sure, who knows, this Sunday, you might get struck by lightning and go, oh my gosh, here's this amazing writing thing. And I need to, I'm going to ship it in the newsletter.
I have a draft I've been working on all week, and I'm just waiting for it to feel right before I send it, instead of just hitting send and being like, you know what I mean? Like
I used the same thing with the podcast. I literally met an entrepreneur the other day, and I was like, I would love to have this person on the show. I'd love to have you on the show. Yeah. And invite him on, and we're working out the dates. But it's like, instead of me furiously, like, really hunting and trying really, really hard to get people on the show, which is a lot of work. It's a lot. There's no way around it. There's no way about it. It's just a lot of work to do that stuff.
I want to make sure we ground this, though, in something that I think we both really believe in, which is that you do need to be doing something in terms of marketing and biz dev for your solo business. And like right now we're talking about creative projects, which are more like kind of they served us as that marketing engine until they didn't. But it's not like we're doing nothing. And I think that where a lot of our clients and a lot of solopreneurs get stuck is they never feel inspired. Like they don't get to that inspiration point.
Yeah.
What inspires them is the work. And some of them enjoy the marketing. A lot of them don't. But it's still something that has to be done. So Nick Bennett, what do you do when you do have to do marketing, but you're not inspired?
I don't suggest anyone pull some teeth over this stuff. So creative projects like 1000 Routes has made me more money and helped me meet more of some of the most wonderful people I've ever met in my entire life. And
That was our first real conversation.
I was like, yeah, I think it was our
recorded.
second.
It was our second
we
conversation.
met one time on a Zoom to chat about your offer. And then I was like, come on the show.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool. Having some sort of creative project is massively valuable to business. I think where, like, if you're not inspired at all to do these things, like, you're probably in the wrong line of work.
That's a good
Right?
starting
This
point.
helps us work out a lot of ideas. It forces us to more clearly communicate our frameworks and our ideas and our IP and all the stuff and all the things.
Yep.
I think something with a more flexible premise, like if you and I never teamed up, 1000 Routes would have taken a different shape, but that would be it. Like I would just do that and change the premise of that show a little bit versus probably what it's been. Like cut the fluff for you. You probably would have just shifted the premise a bit and it's like less editing tips and more something else.
It kind of already is. I just never changed the premise.
Just like never said it. We're like, hey,
I just
like,
never said it.
I think you sent an email once and you were like, if you're here for editing tips, I'm sorry.
I know, but like on the Creator Network and ConvertKit, it still says editing tips. And every time I go to change it, I'm just like, I don't know what this is. So
I don't know what it is.
It's fine.
Yeah. So for the sake of growing your business, right? Like to the primary premise of this show, right? Creating from inspiration versus obligation, I have found creates more resonant work. So work that people like to consume. Right? We are inspired to do the show and we have a lot of fun doing it. And I think that shows up in the work.
Yeah.
People message us and they're like, I enjoyed that episode. A lot of it because I think we had someone message and say that they like that we just talk about like the crazy, silly shit our kids do because we're having fun and we're still talking about the things that we promised we were going to talk about. But like, I think it creates work that more people, that creates a higher motivation to subscribe versus the checkbox obligation stuff. Like there's plenty of podcasts out there. I always joke, it's like a carbon copy. Every show, especially in B2B marketing, is a copy and paste of all the other shows. It's the same circle of guests that show up on every single show and they say the same things. And it's like everyone puts on their little human coat and then and then they all try to like just bebop along through the show. And like the newsletter is just like just something that is agony to try and read and no one's inspired by it. No one's inspired to create it. No one's inspired to read it. And they are obligated to create that newsletter, obligated to write that LinkedIn post, obligated to create that podcast. And no one feels inspired to read it. I don't think anyone would feel obligated to read something.
Right.
Or unless like my mom and my dad listen to our podcast. I feel like although they enjoy it, I assume, I hope, I think, they probably feel an obligation because they're my parents. I don't know.
I think the one reason people feel obligated is to just stay up to date on what people are saying.
But even at that, it's like then they don't give a shit. They don't actually.
That's true. Actually, this morning I unsubscribed from like 3 B2B
Dude, me too.
newsletters. Nice. Happy Friday.
I think because everyone ships on Friday and all your inbox gets filled up with newsletters.
Was like, I literally
That's us. We ship on
stopped
Friday.
myself from hitting. Don't unsubscribe unless
Don't
you want
unsubscribe.
to.
We're gonna we need to ship on Thursdays from now on.
But yeah, I got 3 in a row, and I went to hit delete like normal, and I was like, I'm never gonna read this again, am I? What am I doing? And then I hit unsubscribe.
Yeah, I literally I delete emails.
Yeah.
Like if I just got fewer emails would actually be the right answer. So I did the same thing. I unsubscribed from a bunch, and that made me feel good. That's what Friday mornings are for. Purge. The great purge. Okay. Yeah. How does this relate though? I think there's a lot of, how does this tie into the greater premise of this work, right?
Yeah.
Create from inspiration means people are inspired to consume the work. People like this stuff. Jay Kunzo, our friend Jay Kunzo, always talks about don't be the best, be their favorite. And one of the things that he said a long time ago that has been buried into my brain and I can't unsee it, which is like most people listen to like 3, maybe 5 podcasts. And in order to get into their podcast rotation, you need to be good. Mm-hmm. Not like better than all the others good. Like you need to be considered among their favorite things, create things worth listening to, create content worth subscribing to.
Yep.
And I think about that a lot because if we don't create from a place of inspiration, there's literally zero reason for for people to consume it.
100%. I'm thinking through my favorite podcasts right now, and all of them are because it's super high value. I can tell that they're inspired and excited by it, and it's POV. Like,
Yeah.
I want to hear that person's take on a thing, not the other person's
Yeah.
take, that person's take on a thing. And the POV and the take and all that good stuff comes from being deeply inspired and thinking super hard about something so that you can have a unique opinion.
Yeah. I think that there's another point of tension here that is, many of the most successful, again, objectively, like when we say successful, I want to say like some of the highest revenue producing solopreneurs and micro agencies we know and work with do not necessarily have a formal creative practice. Like they create some things. A lot of it is like they will write some LinkedIn posts or they will write a newsletter intermittently. But I wouldn't say it makes a massive difference in their billings or their business. They do it when they feel inspired to do it. And this is an important distinction to make, which is creating things is not a prerequisite to being successful by any measure.
Yep.
By any measure whatsoever. We are surrounded, like many of our peers are creators, and I think that is motivating for sure for us to create stuff. I think we just like creating stuff too. But many of the people we know and work with do not. And they don't feel an obligation to create stuff, and they don't feel inspired to create stuff. And the question I'm posing here is like, well, what role does creating stuff play in scaling the business? Realistically, I think it's optionality. I think it creates way more options, right? A lot of people, this is, I think, the difference between those who create and those who don't.
Okay.
Those who create more options in their life in terms of, our friend Elise Lemay talks about this all the time with her creative gravity thing. It's like it creates optionality because there's an opportunity for inbound.
Yeah.
Right? More people you're closing the recognition gap, the whole thing that we like to talk about as well. But it creates options in your life. And most people kind of get what they get when it comes to leads and sales. Yeah. And they don't want to live like that. Even if they're doing objectively well, they're meeting their financial goals. They would rather have more options or do a slightly different kind of work, whatever the thing may be for them. And so creating, in my eyes, gives you the options, or it really, in a lot of ways, probably removes a lot of optionality in terms of the things you do so that you can stay focused on the things you want to do. You become known for the thing. So creating tells people how to perceive you in their mind. They go, oh, when they think of Nick and Erica, they think of this one specific thing versus them. We tell them what to think of versus them making it up. And that I think is really the big win there. That's what we see people, where we see the traction and the most value, even if it's not a straight up like, oh, look at all the wonderful inbounds I get.
I completely agree. It creates optionality. I also think if you are someone who has a creator leaning personality or itch, it's because this is me personally, it is the absolute best way that I can, I like how you phrase it. I'm going to try to remember how you think it. Push the boundaries of the framework, or like push the thinking, or
move beyond easy thinking.
Yeah. Move beyond easy thinking. Like, it's very easy to think about things really hard, get good at that thing, and then do that thing on like a production line, essentially, and never push the boundaries of that thing. And I think the people that I'm personally most inspired by are constantly pushing the boundaries. Like, you can't help it. You want to, innately that you're never done. Like, you got to keep learning. And that's how I feel about you. You push me to be like that. I think that's why it's so cool having a co-founder. We could push each other, and that's in that way. The past few weeks, I've been so deep in client work, like deep in family stuff. I haven't given myself that creative space, and I feel shitty, honestly.
Feel the drag, yeah.
Feel the drag. Like I'm like, I gotta like I'm not evolving in the way that I want to be on a lot of these things. I'm saying the same shit. It's like, what am I doing here? I think something that we do for clients who might not feel that way is when we meet with them, that space itself, like we force them to create space in their week or in their month to talk through these things, which in and of itself, like this right now, you and I are being creative. There are many ways to be creative. It doesn't mean sitting down. I know that getting thoughts out on paper is definitely the best way to be creative, but talking through things as well is creative. So I would say if you want to push the boundaries, obviously optionality is there, but if you want to keep evolving, then finding inspiration in just the drive to like push those boundaries is absolutely key.
1,000,000,000%, right? A lot of times the easy thinking of like, this is how we see this thing.
Yeah.
And after a while, you get bored or things change and you go, how am I like, well, where do we go from here?
Yep.
An example of this, a while back, I was talking to a solopreneur who had shared an idea that was very special to her, a framework or some sort of IP that was really special to her. She was really proud of it. She shared it with a friend. And that friend immediately turned around and like posted all about it on LinkedIn and like basically stole her idea. Some friend. And I was like, hey, that sucks. That's super annoying. But here's the good news. That's the easy thinking. She can't go any further than that with it.
Yep.
Because you gave it to her. She didn't think it. She didn't get there. She didn't think about this. You thought about it. So you just keep doing what you're doing. Push past the easy thinking. Give yourself a bigger canvas for more expansive thinking. Create the space to do that. And you will push significantly further, significantly faster. Create more value for yourself and for your clients. I think we talk about our friends at Fletch, Anthony and Rob. They are doing this constantly.
Yeah.
You see all the graphics and the things that they write about positioning. Like, they're killing it on that front. They're way beyond easy thinking. And I think they're probably the best example of this.
Yeah.
In terms of how all of these little nuts and bolts of positioning come together and different things that they see. They're in deep, and it's good. Because you can tell with all the people who are like, we do positioning, and then they're like, nah, motherfucker, like, we do positioning, right? Like, there's a totally different feel to that.
Yeah, and anyone who copies
important.
them is going to just be on, they're going to be on V, whatever they are, and they're just going to blow past the copies so fast, it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter, because anyone who rips off their thinking will be locked in that one space.
Yep.
And they're just going to keep going. And I think that's like the way that we approach our work is the exact same way. It's like doing this podcast creates a space for us, or forces us to also continue to think about the frameworks that we teach. How do we evolve those? How do we create new frameworks? All that stuff. So I feel like I was like, oh, we just made a case for why creating content in your business is good for business. But then the most important thing is where that content creation comes from. And that's either, if it's coming from obligation, you're kind of screwed. If it's coming from inspiration, you're on your way.
It's also a really good meter or metric to think about. If I'm feeling obligated, why?
Yeah.
Every time I feel obligated to, like with my newsletter, I'm like, why? And I'm thinking super hard about that right now, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it and then make a decision. It's not just going to sit in limbo forever. Like, force yourself to ask yourself why, because there might be something wrong or broken or stuck that needs to flow in a different way. And again, like, this all comes back to you get to decide what your business is, what your creative outlets are, all that good stuff. And if you feel stuck and you feel obligated, you can change that.
Yeah, I think the creative outlet is the primary lever for getting unstuck.
Are you going to tell everyone to journal?
I'm going to tell everyone to journal. Should journal. If you're not journaling, journal. Maybe more breakthroughs and more frameworks.
Nick's been trying to get me to journal for a month. I'm almost there.
I just think you should just write on a piece of paper. in front
look,
of you instead of
my
right,
problem
it
is I think I might need to get a better pen. I know this is dumb.
pen.
Listen, I at Spark
Sounds
Together
a lot
last
like an
year,
excuse
Anne
to me.
Handley got on stage and said that she bought a super ding dong $75 pen. Forget what it's called. I think it had the word wing in it.
These like Blackwing pencils. Or
Yes,
something
she bought
like that.
she bought that thing, and she said literally this is what her entire presentation was about. How this pen changed her life. And I hate my handwriting.
Sounds like
and
an
I hate my
excuse.
pens. It is an excuse. It is an excuse. It is an excuse. But also, I might get the pens.
Bic round stick medium. That's
Stop
the pen.
it. That's the fucking pen.
Dude,
on my
that's the pen.
desk. No.
That's the one.
I hate this pen.
Well, you're making excuses for
All right.
stuff.
I'm gonna. You know what? Everyone, keep me accountable. If I haven't journaled by next week,
Everybody
I want
who
emails.
hears this, DM Erica on LinkedIn and be like, "Yo,
Are you journaling?
are
yet?
you journaling yet?
I bought this journal. It's
you
beautiful.
need to do it. You need to do it because without it, you
My
don't
kids
give
drew in it.
yourself the space.
I know.
Here's the thing I've realized: writing for a newsletter and writing for LinkedIn and all this other shit. Even if you are inspired to create that stuff, there's an obligation layer in there because you're writing in a way that you would never actually write. And the stream of consciousness, free flow of writing unlocks something in your brain that creates your space, creates the ability to think about stuff in a way more expansive way, a way that you've never thought about it before. And if you're writing on a screen with the LinkedIn feed behind it or the intention to ship it, I don't care.
100%. I will say sometimes it is exactly how I write. And those are always the ones that people are like, wow, this felt so good. And I'm like, yeah, because it's basically a journal post.
Because it's me just ranting, the unhinged rantings of a mad lady. Okay, friends, that concludes this episode of How Solos Scale.
We hope we've inspired you to go.
We hope we've inspired you to do something with your life. And let us know in the comments below. Let us know. DM Erica, force her to start journaling. We'll see what happens.
Until next time.
Until next time, friends.
All right.